Twin flame energy, twin flame energy, twin flame energy, twin flame energy.
All right, welcome back to Twin Flame Energy Podcast. This is AJ. What's going on?
And I am your co-host Damo, and we are live streaming here tonight on Twitch. This is podcast number 16. The title of today's podcast is The Marriage Friend Zone.
All right, so let's get right into it. First article comes from Psychology Today, and the title of the article is 5 Signs of Couple Falling into the Friend Zone. All right?
That's called You Need to Turn on the Light.
Why?
Because then you could see your words better.
I can see.
Yeah, you missed an A.
What way? Oh.
See? Reading in the dark isn't for you.
I chose to remove that A because we are we. See.
Moving right along.
That was good.
It was not.
Yeah, write that down. All right. So, the early physical contact is gone. It's natural for many of us of our infatuation.
Wait, pause. You said 5 signs of a couple falling into the friend zone, right? Sign number 1.
Right. The early physical contact
You didn't say that.
is gone. Oh. Well,
You just started reading.
Well, because I didn't know it was a
number
whole,
1.
A whole.
Say number 1.
Oh, I see. Okay, we're going.
Yeah.
Number 1. The early physical contact is gone. It's natural for many of our infatuation stage activities to fade once a relationship matures.
Lights on, buddy.
After a few years together, you're probably not staring into each other's eyes for hours. But if all of those early stage physical signals of romantic interest are gone, knee touching, back touching, eye contact, hand holding, and of course kissing, one or both of you may be slipping into the friend zone.
Number 2, you or your partner uses excessive Platonic language. What does that mean? Okay.
What's up, bro? Buddy.
Home skillet.
Buddy.
Listen. Buddy. Inside joke. So, it is lovely to consider your significant other as your best friend or even your family. This is a sign that you are that your connection has depth, but your partner shouldn't only describe you as their best friend or family. If these labels aren't used in concert with more romantic labels like my love, my baby, there's a possibility that the depth of connection is swallowing the necessary shallowness of physical attraction.
Let's talk about that. Okay.
Why? Which way?
Well, I mean, that's exactly why, right?
Yeah.
The way you feel about that, the way that I feel about that, the way that probably a lot of people feel about that, we don't have to, put each other in these categories of, honey boo snookums, baby pookie.
Yeah, I don't give a damn.
We don't have to do that if that's not our thing. Right. See, they put things in certain categories like this is how it's supposed to be done. There is no supposed to. You know what I mean? And honestly, as a relationship that has been going on for 1,000,000 years, and as twin flames, things are bound to possibly change. You grow.
1,000,000 times.
There's alterations. Over. I mean, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's not. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I just don't feel like you should be like, yeah, he don't ever say my love. Come here. It's
I would slap you.
I know. It's like, come here, my love. Come here. Like, I need some tea. I mean, we don't. That's not our thing.
No.
That's not our thing. And honestly, it kind of rubs us the wrong way. It's kind of like, like.
Well, I feel people who do that are putting on.
But they're putting on. Because. Well, I don't want to say too much, but half of those relationships, a lot of times, people that put on like that, they end up divorced after like a couple months. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They're being extra.
You're my earth, my rock.
wind. Anyways,
Number 3.
Number 3. Your partner seems fine to only see you in groups.
Go ahead.
Why you?
It just sounds funny. Go ahead.
Okay.
Goofy podcast today.
One subtle sign that your significant other is friend zoning you is an increasing open door policy with friends. If friends are welcome for dinner any and every night, and if your partner has started inviting friends on your vacations, I see where this is going. It can mean that he or she is losing interest in activities that are, better done by you two alone. Inviting a crew along on your anniversary dinner may seem cute at the time, but it could bode poorly for the relationship.
Okay. Yep.
It's just weird.
That is strange. Number 4. Your significant other feels comfortable telling you everything. Sometimes romantic partners need to tell each other graphic details about their bodies for health reasons, to improve sexual intimacy, etc. However, it is a red flag for your partner joyfully oversharing details you really don't need to know. If your wife can't wait to tell you about the crazy long chin hair she plucked this morning, you two might want to talk. You two might want to start reversing course. Some healthy reluctance to sharing such info is a sign of a sexy relationship. When your partner loses their filter completely, it may mean that they no longer think of you as someone they want to impress. It's a sign. What?
I think Moon knocked some over.
Of course she did. It's a sign that there's no longer feel that they need to make sure you find them attractive, which could indicate that they no longer find you attractive.
Right.
All right. And number 5, while you go check on Moon and see if she's destroyed something. Your significant other acts like your sexual advances are weird. Have you ever been made to feel like a pervert for making moves on your own boyfriend or girlfriend? It's a more common experience than you might think. Such retroactive awkwardness around physical advances can happen when a couple is growing apart, of course, but it can also happen when a couple is actually growing too close together. Some couples develop such high regard and esteem for one another that it feels inappropriate to sexualize each other. This is friend zoning in the making and a crucial sign to look out for. Mm-hmm. Is everything intact?
I think so.
Okay.
From what I can see so far. Then we'll find something later on, like, what happened?
All right.
So, did you...
No, that's all you.
All right, so the question is, with this list, how do you think we measure up? How many of these describe us?
I don't know.
I don't know. I some of these I don't agree with. Some of these it's just weird. Huh?
So we've heard.
Oh, some of these we may have heard.
No, I'm saying we've heard you don't agree with.
Oh yeah, no. But I mean, I would say that too. You know what I mean? Possibly, but
the number 2 I feel like is us. However, it's not in a bad way. You know, we were talking about all the pet
labels.
Name crap.
Yeah. That's the main thing. Right.
We're not 3 at all. We wish we. I mean, we don't have any friends outside of each other, really.
Yeah, none of the other ones. You know what I mean? And yeah, you know. All right, so.
Let me see. 2. Wait, I'm still looking. Still reading through. Yeah, that's really. Yeah, we don't resonate with a lot of those.
Right.
So the second article we have is from bigthink.com, and the title of this article is "Should You Marry a Passionate Lover or Your Best Friend?" Here's what science says. Okay.
What does science say?
There are a lot of other advantages to being hitched, such as a lower risk of depression, heart attack, and stroke. The contently married also have a higher likelihood of living longer. I sound really loud to myself, just so you know. So,
no, you're fine.
Okay. Of living longer and of enjoying a better financial health and surviving cancer should they be diagnosed.
Right.
Surprisingly, men actually benefit more from a healthy marriage than women. Now, another study finds that for both sexes, those who consider their spouse their best friend experience greater benefits.
Whereas a lot of people don't believe in that. All right, researchers also wanted to know what role friendship played. Previous studies found that having friends is essential to happiness. Having friends who share our beliefs, known as super friends, are even more crucial. The well-being benefits of marriage are much greater for those who are who also regard their spouse as their best friend. Hella will. That's real. Is that a name?
I guess so.
Is that a name or is that a typo?
That's a name.
Well, hella well said. I mean, that's what it say. It say hella well.
Listen, it's the writer of the article. Just read on.
Okay, hella well.
Hella well said it.
She said, or he said, these benefits are on average about twice as large for people whose spouse is also their best friend. As you can tell, we are best friends because nobody else probably think that's funny.
But I find it funny.
That's hilarious to me. You know what I mean? Hella well.
Around half of all married respondents said that their spouse was their best friend. Surprisingly, this particular boost was greater for women than men. One limitation is that the findings can only be applied to Western countries. So obviously they would only do that around here, but whatever. So the question that I pose is, do you think our friendship is a negative or a positive? Or negatively or positively affects our marriage?
I think that it's like the glue for us. I think it's the glue. I think it can be the glue for others, but I don't think that people truly are friends like they think they are.
Yeah, because
I think true friends know true friends. See, it's kind of hard to really. It could get deep, but I'm not gonna go that deep into it. But I think it's like we're true friends, where some other people are like, yeah, we're like best friends. Like,
yeah,
we like the
like
same
a coin.
things.
It's a coined term.
We do this together, and we both like it. But it's like that's not true friends just because you like the same thing.
Well, here's an example.
There's
in a lot
more
of cases, people will be getting married, and they'll be like, "I'm marrying my best friend. I love you so much." But in reality, actually, you're marrying a dude that you probably met in a club. You probably met with romantic intentions from day one. It's not the same. Whereas we literally were best friends before anything went there. So we were totally transparent. We weren't trying to impress one another. We were actually just
fully
homies.
Who we are.
Yes. So the thing about it is to go from there to a romantic versus meeting someone with romantic intentions and then becoming close. It's two totally different ball games. And so every time I talk to people and I say I married my best, like I have to clarify. Like, no, you don't understand.
Like, you don't understand.
Like, this is like actual, like sleep in the same bed and don't do anything style.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like brother sister, would not to be weird, but
but
brother sister kind of thing.
Homies.
But
like if I was dating someone, I called you and told you about them. That's what level of best friends we were on.
Yeah. Like
so
3:00 in the morning, just calling, hey, you want to go hit up that spot?
And go walk around Walmart or some stupid shit. You know what I mean?
Just
we were that. Yeah. So
and
it's like,
had no agendas, just did.
Exactly.
And
but
it's
the question, do I think it's negative or positive? Now I have to give the other side of that because we are we're best friends. We never actually dated
Right.
We just kind of slid into a relationship. So the dating portion never actually happened. So I feel like we struggle with that portion and have to actually like it's very easy for us to be in the marriage friend zone because we literally can sit and laugh all day and then go to bed and go to sleep and then wake up and laugh and then you'd be like, when was the last time we even tried to be romantic?
Right.
And you get what I'm saying? It's like,
Right.
So we have to actually think about that stuff because it's easy to just get comfortable because we are so comfortable.
Right.
So that's the negative, I would say.
Yeah.
We'll be great when we're 65.
Well, in terms of when, that's weird, but in terms of like when you think about like a relationship, if it's working, you know what I mean, it's working. You know what I mean? And when it comes to like other stuff or getting more intimate or romantic stuff and stuff like that, it's like when the other feels like, okay, it's time that we have more of that, you know what I mean? It's like in some cases it's like we have to acknowledge that those are feelings that we're possibly suppressing. We're possibly suppressing those feelings, and we need to address those.
Especially because we're so busy,
and we do
so
busy.
much stuff.
We have
work-wise,
families. We have
business stuff. 2 or 3 different things going at the same time.
Right, and I guess I'm saying it for everyone to acknowledge that those feelings, you may not notice them because they're not in the front, because everything is working. Everything's perfect, everything's great, everything's gelling, it's like glue, but they are being suppressed, and you eventually will have to acknowledge it. Yeah. So it's a matter of just kind of like thinking about it.
Or like how often we'll be like, hey, we'll think about the day, and we're thinking we're going to end our evening with like alone time. But then we get home, we'll like work out, and then we're exhausted. We go to sleep. That's just what happens.
Yeah, I guess.
All the time.
I guess.
So it is what it is. But it's because we're doing so much stuff. We working. It's just a lot. So that was a long-winded question, or long-winded answer to a question.
No, it was good though.
Yeah.
Article 3.
Don't sound so happy about it. Article 3.
Psychologytoday.com. The title of the article is 13 Ways to Keep the Thrill in Your Relationship. So, number 1, let's get physical. Physical touch is key to a significant relationship. Sure, this includes sex, but also so much more. Give your partner a hug, rub his back, hold her hand, offer a massage. Oxytocin is released with the physical touch, which has been shown to give lots of benefits, from feeling closer to being more generous and even having a stronger immune system.
That might be why you're so sick all the time. I'm just joking.
I'm not sick. Haven't been.
I was joking.
In years.
It was just an open window for a joke. Number 2, smile. You're on camera. You don't do that often. Pretend as if a camera is following you around. You should do the opposite.
That's weird.
I was gonna say, if you act like a camera's following you around, you'd always have a frown. You don't smile for pictures. Ever.
What if I'm walking around like this? Just
no.
That's just weird.
It is.
It's strange. Like, okay.
So
continue.
I can't.
I know the thought of that.
How would you want to act if you knew you were being watched by others? Kind, thoughtful, easygoing. Now act like that every time you are with your partner.
Okay. I think we do that though. We act like us.
Yeah, everywhere we go.
Yeah. And I think that's what people will be like, y'all just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's what a lot of people always say.
Yeah.
Say, I'm sorry. We all messed up from time to time. Say things we later regret, and do things we really shouldn't. And yet, so often we justify these actions to ourselves and our partners. This can lead to resentment and defensiveness, not the ingredients for a happy relationship. Next time you mess up, admit your mistake, move on, and it will help your partner feel closer.
Number 4, looking good. Take steps to feel good about your body and the way you look. This is for you and your partner. For example, when women feel good about their body, research shows they are 19%
Do you have to
more
sound
satisfied
like
in a marriage.
Leroy Johnson doing the weather?
Don't worry. You don't need to look like a model. Just take steps to feel good about yourself.
You're
Can be
getting
helpful
worse
to
in
you.
more country. Like this.
As one of my male clients said, I don't need her to be skinny. I just want to know that she puts some effort in to look good. It makes me feel important. I have had female clients express similar sentiments.
Okay. Number 5.
Why you just gonna blow past it like that?
Yeah, number 5.
That's just whack.
Well, I mean, I know I like, you know what I mean? This whole like, you know, self thing, you know what I mean? Like, I'm, you know,
What?
Number 5.
What does that mean?
Number 5. Listen to your partner. This tip is multifaceted. First, it is important to listen, really listen to your partner. Ask him about his day and then actually be interested. If you find it tough to be interested, you might want to practice some empathy skills training.
Why you laughing?
Nothing. One client who came in because he and his wife were considering a divorce lamented. She never even asked me about my day. She just complains about hers. Your partner wants to be heard and understood.
Number 6.
Now you gonna brush on.
There was nothing to be said.
I'm kidding. Oh, I got one more.
I'm like, why are you changing?
No, I didn't know I had one.
Have outside support and interests. Your partner cannot meet your every need. Best friend, stress manager, mentor, conflict resolutor, chick flick watcher, sporting even spectator. It is important that you have additional sources of support in your life. This will take the pressure off your mate to be your everything. Even better, pursue your own interests. Sure, it's great to do things together, but you also want to respect your own areas of interest and follow those passions.
Right.
I don't really think we have very much to say about that.
I was like,
the problem is,
we do all
it
this.
is unfortunate for others. I'm sorry.
Very true. Very true.
But in our world, we actually genuinely like 90% of the same shit.
Yeah.
So sorry for those who don't.
Yeah.
I may have to be a little for a second. Because at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, and I do mean 9 times out of 10, if I'm looking forward to seeing the movie, he's outwardly looking forward to see the movie on his own.
Yeah.
We've sent the same trailer to each other.
Yeah, that is so true. That is so true. That is.
We like the chick flicks and we like the sci-fi.
Yeah.
We like the zombie movies and we like all of it.
Yeah.
Both of us.
Yeah.
I am so sorry if that is not your reality.
Right.
But it just happens to be ours.
Yeah, that's one thing that's just like I feel like is amazing, and not only just like it exudes like best friends, but
we don't watch sports.
It's just I mean it's just that's just how we roll, you know what I mean? So it's like I love it, you know what I mean? And if we love it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just frustrating when people want to act like that's weird.
Like it's weird.
Like I'm so sorry your shit sucks.
Yeah.
Sorry, for one moment I have to just be mean.
Right.
Or the real me outside of the...
If you only knew. Yeah. So number 7, do fun stuff. If going to Target,
yes, Target,
it's the most exotic thing that you tend to do on weekends, it's time for a change. Like, no, it ain't. You love the Target. And you don't need a ton of cash or vacation days. Choose to do something fun together. This could be watching a funny movie, going for a hike, trying a new restaurant, learning something new, taking a class together, volunteering, or working out together. Any new positive can help boost the happiness in your own relationship.
Number 8. There's nothing wrong with Target. Number 8.
Had to add that
Focus
in there.
on win-win. Stop keeping score of all the things you do and all the things your partner doesn't. Stop your need to be right. People in happy relationships don't view themselves as two different sides. There is no I win, you lose mentality. Instead, they focus on win-win. This means being willing to compromise, admit when you're wrong, and focus on being happy instead of right. Yep. I know someone who could do that.
It ain't me. Number 9.
Definitely.
Number 9. I know somebody too. Number 9. Reunited, and it feels so good when you and your partner reunite. At the end of the day, when one of you comes back from a trip, or even when you wake up, do something to show your love. When your partner comes home, for example, stop what you're doing within reason and devote just a few seconds to being completely present with her. Give her a hug, give her a kiss, look in her eyes, ask her how she is. Put down your phone, pause the TV, turn down the stove. Do whatever you need to focus even just a short amount of time with your partner. You both will feel much more connected.
Number 10, be respectful. John Gottman is a pioneer on research about the longevity of marriage. In fact, in a longitudinal study, he was able to predict with 93% accuracy which couples would eventually get divorced. He has identified what he refers to as the Four Horsemen, which are predictors of relationship problems: criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. The quick antidote for these is simply be respectful. Rather than criticize, openly communicate without criticism. Instead of contempt, express disappointment without eye-rolling or passive-aggressive comments. Ditch the defensiveness. It is important to take feedback so that you and your relationship can improve. And rather than stonewall, listen to your partner and have a constructive conversation when things are not going smoothly as you would like. Learn to communicate even your disappointments with respect.
Wow. That was loaded. Number 11. Just ask. This one takes an open mind. Ask your partner, what is one thing I can do this week to better partner you? Be a better partner to you. The response may be surprising. The goal is not to be defensive. I already do that anyway. Or, yay, I wish you would do that too. Instead, simply absorb what you hear and take steps to implement your partner's desire as long as it is within moral boundaries. This is a great way to meet needs that you may not even realize your partner had.
Number 12, abide by the 5-to-1 rule. While you may think giving your partner a compliment will counter some negative feedback you provide, think again. The magic ratio is not 1-to-1, but rather 5-to-1. This means that in order to have an overall positive feeling about your relationship, you need to have at least 5 positive encounters, which are actions or statements, for every 1 negative. The take home, spend more time telling and showing your partner what you love and appreciate about them. Laugh more, spend more fun time together. When you do, tough times are easier to get through. That kind of speaks to when we were reading the 80-80 marriage last year. it was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And they talked about having the marriage bank account and how much you have stored
deposits
for
Yep.
the tumultuous times.
So number 13, drop the perfectionism. Stop expecting your partner or yourself to be perfect. Drop the all or nothing attitude. You didn't ask me about my presentation today, so you don't care about me. Or you didn't realize that you didn't want to have sex last night, so you didn't find me attractive. Stop personalizing and generalize your partner's action. Instead, accept where they are. Be assertive by communicating your needs and wants in a respectful manner. Forgive your partner and move on.
All right, and that's that for those articles, isn't it?
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to enjoy a quick music break, and we'll be back in a moment.
I don't even know how much you care. You don't even know how much you mean to me, yeah. Every time you think of me, man, all I wanna know is that you're safe, yeah. Flow with me, holding me, love is taking over. In a day, over it, it's the essence of love. Never more sure of how much I love you. There's no way I can stay silent when I look into your eyes. Lose inside of me, make a mess of me, take control of me. Make a mess. I'm a better me, simply cause we take control of me. I'm a better me. Lose inside of me, make a mess of me, take control of me. I'm a better me, simply cause we take control of me. Everything that remains unsaid, I don't have to worry about how you feel. I can see it in the way that you behave. I am sure that you will know the way. Flow with me, holding me, love is taking over. In a day, over it, it's the essence of love. Never more sure of how much I love you. There's no way I can stay silent when I look into your eyes. Lose inside of me, make a mess of me, take control of me. I'm a better me, simply cause we take control of me. Lose inside of me, make a mess of me, take control of me. I'm a better me, simply cause we take control of me. Essence of love, it's all in the essence of love. It's all in the essence of love. It's all in the essence of love. It's all in the essence of love.
All right, we are back from the break. That song is entitled Essence by the one and only Vapors. And that song is ultimately about the energetic frequency of love. It's kind of like what it feels on the inside. And of course, it is available wherever you stream your music.
Essence of love. All right now. All right. So back to the book of the month. right. It is time to review the book. And this month's book is Married Roommates. How to Go from a Relationship That Survives to a Marriage That Thrives by Talia Wagner. This week we are discussing chapter 4, which is called Communication Corrections. So let's dive in.
Yes!
Okay.
Everybody knows this is my favorite part of the podcast.
Okay. What you, Smeagol's older brother? Like, what is that?
I'm just excited. Am I allowed to be excited? I love this freaking book.
Okay.
Negotiating the shared life. Communication is an area of the relationship that couples often find most difficult to navigate. Mm-hmm. What makes these transmissions in marriage so tough, as opposed to communication in other relationships, is that marriage itself ties you together in a unique partnership. This bond creates an all-consuming personal, physical, emotional, and financial investment between two people, one not replicated in any other relationship. It is through this true conversation that a couple can figure out and negotiate both functional and deeper emotional issues. Creating useful dialogue is critical for you to understand one another, especially as you set about establishing and managing your shared life. Getting it right is crucial. There is no other way to reach a consensus necessary to build a meaningful life together.
Why is communication so hard? People are incredibly complex, more so than any of us can fully grasp. The human brain is still an enigma, one that is highly intricate and perplexing. Since we are not neurologists, we're not going to inundate you with complicated scientific information on brain and human functioning. That said, it is important that you have a basic understanding of how the brain interprets stimuli in order to understand that the way you perceive your spouse's verbal and nonverbal behaviors does not always reflect reality.
Okay, so we have a little story here. It's an example story of a lovely couple here. See, this is, nope. All right. It's all good. I'm going to continue to hit this. The couple's name is Carlos and Sandra, and they have an unintentional letdown is what they're calling this story, okay? Mm-hmm. You good? All right. It was the 1-month anniversary of their quickie wedding. Everyone thought they were crazy to elope after only 2 months of knowing each other, but Carlos and Sandra just knew they were meant to be. Carlos was excited to make this anniversary dinner for Sandra and show off his better-than-average culinary skills. The past week, he was busy planning the perfect evening. On the day of the date, a couple of Carlos's friends from college came into town unexpectedly. He was hoping to meet up with them after dinner and show off his new wife in the process. He texted her to see if she could get out of work earlier, feeling excited that she would finally get to meet his buddies. Sandra read the text with growing unease. She didn't even have time for dinner tonight, let alone time to hang out with his friends. It was simply not going to happen with the deadline she was up against. She sent a text back letting him know that she was swamped and that perhaps it would be best for him to go see his friends tonight and then push the anniversary dinner to tomorrow. Sandra knew how much... Is that Moon again?
I guess so.
Sandra knew how much these guys meant to Carlos. She thought he would jump at the chance to hang out with his boys, so she was surprised when she didn't hear back from him. Carlos was crushed by Sandra's disinterest. He was shocked that Sandra would not prioritize this evening, which was a perfect opportunity to get to know his friends. She knew that they saw each other infrequently and how important it was to him that she meet his friends. Carlos did end up seeing his friends that night, but he wasn't really present. He was in his head thinking that maybe they did rush into getting married, seeing as Sandra's work and ambition seemed to be her first priority. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I don't. I mean, what do you think? You tell me.
I asked you.
I don't know. I mean, I know. I mean, okay.
What does that even mean?
No, you tell me.
Because you weren't listening.
I was.
No, you weren't.
I was halfway focused on moon because I heard something fall. But. No. The whole rushing into the being in your head thing. You know what I mean? Like that could be that's like a common thing.
Well,
for
the
males.
whole thing is about the fact of what they didn't say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like neither one of them said what they needed to actually say to each other.
Hear.
They just made assumptions and then got upset about the feelings.
Yeah.
Of
they're both in
what
their
they
head.
were assuming.
Yeah, they're both in their head, not external.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. Literally.
Yeah.
So, all right. Decoding and encoding in communication. With every single expression, either verbal or nonverbal, you send a message. All expression has meaning. Yet each party assigns different interpretations to see expression. In order for communication to be effective as a tool, both parties has to encode and decode the message correctly. Encoding is the process of producing the message, while decoding refers to the process of interpreting and understanding it. Any error between these two processes, whether in transmission or receipt, can lead to the information sent and interpreted in a completely different way. Frequently, the intention and the interpretation are not one and the same. In the example, both Carlos and Sandra had faulty interpretations of their back and forth communication. Sandra assumed that Carlos would prefer to spend the evening with his friends. She didn't communicate her rationalization with Carlos, nor did she explain the reason behind why she wanted a rain check. If Carlos had that information, perhaps he would not have personalized her response and taken it so hard. Carlos also didn't share with Sandra the reason he wanted her there. In its absence, it was easy for Sandra to assume and go with her family interpretation as it was for him. It is unfortunate as this misinterpretation leads to a major misunderstanding and cool down in their new relationship. Yeah.
Like I said, everything that wasn't said.
Yep.
If they would have just spoken out like what they were truly feeling in the moment, then they would have not had so much miscommunication.
Right. And I think this, like I said, this is very common.
Absolutely.
Very, very common. There's a lot of stuff that's just unsaid and then assumed, and then all of a sudden it's like a blowout later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It could be within that day, week, month. You know, eventually it will come back around to bite you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, although you probably believe that you respond directly to the happenings in your environment, internally the process is much more complicated. Your brain identifies external stimuli received through your senses and then interprets this data by turning what you saw or heard into meaning. This interpretation is what you actually respond to. People do not think or process their world in the same way. That is too simplistic an idea and does not justify the incredible abilities of the human mind. Unless you know someone's internal dialogue, you cannot always know or understand the complexities behind the surface communication. All you know is what your mate or anyone else says or does, which is many times devoid of the underlying meaning or context. Not having the subtext is a major obstacle to effective communication, as faulty assumptions easily take over even the most benign interactions.
So, going deeper and deeper. Failing to communicate appropriately has much to do with not going deep enough to explain the feelings and needs behind what you express. Without understanding each other's subcontext and intention, you and your mate operate in a vacuum, left to your own device to read into clues and cues. This leaves the door wide open for misunderstandings, faulty interpretations, and assumptions, which can lead and will run rampant. This situation can also be true when a partner has a history or precedent of a specific behavior which is easily linked from the past to the present through misinterpretations.
Mm-hmm. And we have an example of that. I have another story. Amber and Wyatt. And this title of the story is Jumping to Past Conclusions. So Wyatt has a long track record of flirting with women. Since his marriage to Amber 2 years prior, he frequently assured her that he was a reformed flirt and that his player days were behind him. Although his behavior used to be a trigger for so many of their arguments, Amber thought that they had long put this issue behind them. So when she came back from the bathroom at the restaurant and saw him smiling and nodding at the young hostess, she stood frozen in shock. Amber was so intense that she grabbed her purse and walked out, leaving Wyatt to chase after her in surprise. "What's wrong, babe?" he asked as he caught up to her in the parking lot. Amber turned away from him. "I can't believe we're back to this. The minute I turn my head, you flirt with any halfway cute girl." He looked at her in disbelief. "I was not flirting with her. I was just trying to get us a table," he said. "Amber, we've been through this before. This part of my life is over. I wouldn't hurt you like that again."
And scene.
You know? I'm very good at that.
Sound like we was listening to a sitcom for like 2 seconds. But like she plays the guy and the girl.
I sure do.
And she switches.
I sure do.
What is that?
That's what I do.
So the brain's role, okay? The human brain seeks to understand, to make sense of the world and your place in it. When missing a piece of the puzzle, it fills in the blanks with its own interpretations. You do this automatically. When Amber came out of the bathroom and saw her husband talking to the hostess, although she couldn't hear what he was saying, she didn't stop to think rationally about what she was witnessing, but rather than straight to the emotional despair. Wyatt smiling at the waitress was a fact, but it was Amber who gave the moment meaning. Interpret it based on an old behavior. Your brain intuitively interprets situation and then gives meaning, leaning heavily on subjective feelings, preconceptions, the past, and half-truths to get there.
And of course I have another story. This is the last one, I swear. So this is an example. It says, coming home to a quiet house, a husband looks around the kitchen and thinks, "She didn't cook tonight." His interpretation, "She must still be angry about yesterday." Thinking about it, he gets upset again. "I can't believe she takes it this far when she was wrong in the first place." His faulty interpretation continues to get fed as his negative perception. In reality, his wife had a busy day. She did not get a chance to run to the grocery store and thought they would just eat out. When she got home and noticed her husband's short responses, she immediately attributed it to the night before, thinking he must want the same dispute to continue. So in reality, all they were doing is just getting stuck. I mean, it seems like everybody just keeps not saying anything.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Which really isn't helpful to anyone.
Right.
So, yeah. So that is going to do it for our recap of Chapter 5. And that, excuse me,
Very
not Chapter 5. I'm pushing us too forward. Next week, we will be discussing Chapter 5. Mm-hmm. That chapter is called Conflicts and Combat. We normally do a recap of Chapter 4, but, you know, I say just go read it. This is the second chapter of part 2, which is called The Great Relationship Decline and Redefine. And if you are following along with us, We will be reviewing one chapter a week to give us time to digest and reflect on the information that we've received. So today we went over chapter 4. Next week we'll be going forward to chapter 5.
Yep. So it is that time again for pick a card and a card. And we are pulling from The End Long-Term Couples Edition cards. They're all black in color, coding purposes, for color coding purposes. And the card for this week
I've made my own song.
is...
I'm picking.
Shuffle.
I'm seeing what falls out to me. I'm still pulling. I'm not sure what I want.
Okay.
Here's a good one. How can we be better together?
I mean, it's just so much. I mean, many things that you can like. I say
greater levels of transparency. That's my
Yeah, communication. Yes, absolutely. I will say finding how we each can work together on being like a greater team, you know, and how I can fulfill things that you would need and how you can fulfill things that I need to like create more balance as teamwork grows, and you know what I mean. And look, you could be 11 years in and you know still be working on communication, teamwork. There's always something that could be being dropped, just like the whole situation, conversation, and the misinterpretations and the not saying stuff and the, you know what I mean? And it's like, we don't have that issues that often, but sometimes it does squeeze through the cracks where it's like, you're doing something and this and that. And it's like, I don't know what your day was. You know what my day was. We just fill in the blanks with whatever we interpret. So, I just, you know what I mean? It's just always better to focus on being better as a team and communicating.
Yeah. And in going in transparency, I'm going to say something before I do our normal outro. This is me being fully transparent. Right here on the air, okay? You ready?
No.
I'm very young.
Okay.
But I feel very old. So what I mean by that is this 10 p.m. at Fridays, I don't know. Like I said last week, we have to nap. And then after the nap, I'm so exhausted that I'm normally in a really bad mood because me and naps aren't friends. And so I'm normally just like crawling into here like... But there's so many other times throughout the week where I think I'm ready. So I personally know that we upload on Friday nights. But to go live on Twitch, we can't commit to Friday nights. So because I know that Twitch, doesn't it like do a shout like, hey, such and such is going live now when we go live, right?
I don't think it really matters.
The point I'm trying to make is, if it's Wednesday at 3 p.m. and we happen to go live,
right,
and we record the podcast then, and then we upload on Friday night like we're supposed to, we're just going to go with that. I think because waiting until 10 p.m. on Friday is just too tumultuous after working all week.
Well, yeah.
And doing all the things we have to do all
week.
We're
missing those people who are on prime time on Twitch.
I'm not worried about them. I'm talking about the fact that I'm sleeping in order to make it through.
I mean, I get it.
So, in terms of going live on Twitch, we can't commit. We can commit to weekly, but we can't guarantee when that'll be. So, we'll do our best to find a sweet spot.
Make sure, look, at the end of the day, hold on to. Just make sure that you subscribe to our channel.
And then you'll get the notification.
And that you follow us. And that you're on our YouTube too. We're podcasting everywhere too. So,
Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts,
you name it. So
Radio,
just subscribe to what your favorite is, and you will hear us.
Spotify, all of them.
You will definitely hear
Absolutely. Amazon Music. Just going down the line.
All of them.
All of them. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that does it for this week's podcast. We will be back next week at some point before 10 p.m. with more amazing content to share and discuss. All of the articles used to drive today's discussion forward can be found in the description box, as well as links to our wonderful book of the month, Married Roommates: How to Go From a Relationship That Just Survives to a Marriage That Thrives by Talia Wagner. Thank you again so much for tuning into today's podcast. We will see you next week. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and of course, ignite your energy.
I think you're trying to hit that note. Like,
what note?
I don't know. Some note.